Busy Cooking with another session of quarantine cooking. And today I'm going to show you how to make a shakshuka, which is a really easy recipe. There's a number of different variations that we can do, which I'll explain to you. But yeah, let's take a look at the ingredients. Firstly, if you take a look down here, we've got some tomato paste. We've got harissa paste, which you can make at home or you can buy. I've added a little bit of oregano flour. There's garlic, smoked paprika. There is basil pesto, a little bit of sugar and some cumin, and then a bit of chopped onion. And then I've got some tomatoes and eggs. And then we're going to put a little bit of basil on it at the end. And then a bell pepper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off some of the ingredients or some of the cooking, and then I'm going to discuss one or two things with you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the onions on the go. Keep it straight.
What is a shakshuka?
I'll explain what a shakshuka is. Okay, so I'm just putting onions in just to get that going. So that's going to take a couple of minutes just to sweat. And then one of the things I like doing is the recipe calls for a bell pepper chopped, but I like taking the bell pepper and I actually like cooking it. So if you want to take a look here, how we're going to do this. I'm actually just going to put this straight on the oven, and we're just going to blister it a little bit. And the reason I like doing that is because it gives that really nice sort of smoky flavor to the peppers. So it's actually going to start blistering the pepper and cooking it and making it all black. And then we're going to put it into a container just to sweat a little bit, and then we're going to peel it and then chop it up and put it into the shakshuka there. So while this is cooking, I'm going to tell you a little bit about shakshuka. Shakshuka is it's a centuries old recipe. It actually originates, they say it originates around about North Africa, and there's many variations. So you'll find it all around the Mediterranean. So the Turkish variations, and we're doing probably the closest to a Turkish variation today, but they say it originated in Tunisia, North Africa. And it's really a tomato dish that has got eggs in it. It's very similar to the Mexican version, which is called huevos rancheros, which is basically egg in a tomato sauce. But this one has got so many nice spices. We're adding some chili in there and a number of other ingredients that are just going to make it so special. And it's a really, really cool dish. We're having it tonight with some other bits and pieces, which I'll show you how to combine that. So, all right, so let's start off here. While this is sweating, I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic in. So that's getting nice. And I've put about a tablespoon of oil in here. I'm just going to add the garlic into that. And as soon as that becomes nice and transparent, then we're going to start adding things like the tomatoes and the spices and all of that. So the difference between the shakshuka is also found in Israel and places like Yemen, but it's slightly different. And also they use things like cheeses in there. So you might find a goat's cheese that's been put into the shakshuka. What we've got here is, I said to you that smoked paprika, but this cumin here that I've got is actually a Turkish cumin, which I smuggled from Turkey because it tastes fantastic. And the recipe that we've got online doesn't include oregano, and I like putting oregano in because it is a tomato dish, and tomato and oregano just go so really well together. So I'm going to add the tomatoes in now. I've just got whole peeled tomatoes in here. So I'm going to chop them up a little bit. So that's chopped tomato. And let's just get that cooking nicely. I'm just going to chop these tomatoes up a little bit. What you want to do is you want this to cook for a while just to make it reduce nicely. So I've got this on a relatively high heat. Okay, let's just check our bell pepper. So I'm going to take our bell pepper. That's what's happening to our bell pepper. Take a look at that. Okay. Just going to turn this around just to get that roasted a little bit more. Okay. So that's cooking up nicely. I'm going to add now my harissa paste. So harissa paste is actually very easy to make. What I do is I take very mild chilies, and I also take some peppers and roast them like that. And you actually roast the chilies and the peppers together. And that makes this really nice sort of rich flavor. And then we add olive oil to that, a little bit of spices, and you blitz the whole thing up. So it's almost like a chili paste, but it's got a really nice flavor to it. I'm going to add my paprika, a little bit of sugar. You always want to add a little bit of sugar to anything that's tomato, just to take away a little bit of that acidity, and mix that up nicely. And then I've got my cumin, and I'm going to add my basil pesto. Basil pesto just gives it a little bit of an edge, which is really nice. So the basil works really well in this. Okay, and that's all just mixing up. While I'm doing this, I'm going to show you what we add as well, which I really like in this dish. You can have this dish for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Obviously, if you're having it for breakfast, it does have garlic in it, so you might want to omit the garlic. And what I like putting in here is chili. So I've got 2 chilies here. We're just going to taste them for strength. And I love the sharpness that the chili gives in this dish. So what we do is I'm just going to take this, just going to slice it open a little bit. So a quick way to test the heat of the chili, and you must always test the heat of the chili before you actually put it into any dish. If you put in a chili that's too hot, it is going to destroy your dish completely. I remove the seeds, not because of the seeds are the hottest part of the chili. There's no real proper hot part of the chili other than this section here. This is said to be the hottest, which is that little pith that holds all the seeds. But yeah, a hot chili is a hot chili. You're never going to tell the difference between that and that. So I'm going to take this, and what you do is you just take a little bit of on your finger and stick it on your tongue. And you should have a decent heat. There's no heat on this one. So I'm going to do another chili. Okay, so this one I suspect is a little bit hotter. There we go. Let's just take that out. Let's just test this one. Yep, that's got a really nice heat to it. So I'm just going to slice this up nicely. And I'm actually just going to add this straight into my chili dish. Or into my tomato dish. And I may as well add this one. In fact, I'm going to add half of this one. So I need half of that for another dish we're just doing. Okay, and this is going to give that a nice little bite. So it's up to you entirely how much chili you add to this. Right, there we go. I'm just going to turn my pepper again. This is starting to look really nice now. Okay. So while the pepper's cooking and while that is going on, I'm going to show you what I've done and why we cook the peppers like that. So what I've done is I've actually cooked some other peppers which look like this. So I've actually blackened them, and these ones I did in the oven, and this is what they look like. So what you do is you blacken and you char them like that, and then I can take the seeds out. They come out really easily, and then you can just literally take the skin and you can peel the skin off just like that, and you can tuck that skin away and it leaves this really nice soft cooked flesh underneath. So I'm going to take some of these and add these into the dish. There we go, and it'll give it that really nice smoky flavor. So I'm just going to take 2 of these and add them in. And then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the other peppers. There you go. So these should come off quite nicely. Once you've roasted them, always put them into a plastic container like this and seal it with a lid on so it actually sweats. And that helps the skin to loosen and come off quite nicely. Right, so I'm just going to take those, just remove that seed. And we're going to chop these ones up and put them into our tomato dish. That's going to add a really nice flavor to that. So we're getting to the stage now where this is reducing really nicely. If you don't have chilies, you don't have any fresh chili, you can use something like this, which is a standard sriracha sauce. If you want to add a little bit of heat quite quickly, then just put some of that in. That's brilliant for this kind of dish. Right, so if you want to come back here again, another thing I like doing is making a pickled pepper. So I've got a glass jar here, a nice sterilized jar. Oh, I must actually put this tomato sauce in, sorry. Just put the tomato paste in quickly into our dish. There we go. So that goes in as well, just to finish off all the ingredients. Mix that in nicely, and that's going to give it a really nice rich color. Look at that. So this should be cooking for about, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, so let's just finish these peppers. So you can see here the peppers actually sweat a little bit. So all I do is I put a bit of olive oil in, but they do sweat. I'm going to take it and just pour that into my container. And then I'm just going to finish these peppers off. Okay, and just pull that skin off nicely. There you go. See how nice and easy that comes off.
One behind you.
Yeah, I'm going to check the one behind now. Right, there we go. So these, when they're roasting, they've got this really nice smell and fantastic flavor to them. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to cut these up into strips. Take a little bit of vinegar and add it to that. So let's just add these quickly. And that pepper that I'm cooking on the oven, I may as well just throw into this as well, because I've got the peppers in for my shakshuka now. Put them into nice little strips. And you can do this with as many peppers as you want. And I've got a chili in here as well. Remember that chili that I cut? That's going in there too. I'm actually going to add another chili because I like the flavor of these. And this chili will just add a really nice little slight spiciness to my pickle. So what we're doing here is Peter's pickled peppers, which I'm sure you've heard about. We're going to take a little bit of black mustard seed, put that in, dash of salt, some nice sea salt, and then we're going to top it up with, this is just a condiment vinegar, which is quite a nice mild vinegar. That's going to go in there. And then let me just stir my, where's my stirring utensil? Oh, it's in there. Sorry, stir this up a little bit so it doesn't stick. So you can see this getting really nice and rich, and it's reduced fantastically. I'll turn it down a little bit. And I'll turn my pepper over. Okay. So this goes on to a nice mild heat now. Okay, what else I'm doing with this is I'm going to add a little bit of rice vinegar to that. And that's all that goes into there. Then you can seal this up and stick this in your fridge. And you can add this to any sort of dish or to salads or anything like that. And it adds a fantastic flavor to salads if you're that way inclined. I'll leave that there. Okay, so let's get back to the shakshuka. So what the next step is here is we're going to add some eggs. Let's just add a little bit of seasoning first. Some nice sprig of salt and pepper. And then you can always just taste it and see what that's tasting like to actually adjust the flavors yourself. A dash of oregano flour in there. Mix that up nicely. Okay, now we're ready to put the eggs in. I'm just going to crack the egg. And we're going to make a little well in the shakshuka, just like this. So if you take a look here, just make a couple of little wells. So I've got 4 eggs here. I'm just going to pour that egg into that well so that the yolk sits in there nicely. Next one. And you'll see this, it starts getting this sort of white, bubbly look about it, which is obviously your egg starting to cook. Another variation on this is, instead of putting eggs like this to go in or to poach, you can actually put scrambled egg in there, or you can just mix your egg into that. Right, so I'm just going to let that go for a bit, and then we're going to put the lid on. The reason I'm putting the lid on is because I want it to cook a little bit from the top as well. Okay, so that's what we're doing for now. What I'm going to do is just prepare a little bit more stuff here. So I'm going to take some basil and chiffonade that. If you can come around this way. For those of you who don't know what a chiffonade is a type of cut. And you just literally just take a couple of leaves. It's mostly used for herbs. And just chopping things up really fine, like little ribbons. I'm going to take that and roll these up like that. I can actually fold that double as well. You just literally just top it. It's got all these nice little ribbons. And we're going to put this over the top of the shakshuka, just like that. These ones on as well. There's nothing like a smell of fresh basil. It's fantastic. Here you go. So what we're also doing tonight is, the other day I made some burgers. Let's just take this off. Okay guys, here's my pepper. Look how nice and blackened that is. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put it into a container. Let that cool a little bit, and then we're going to let that sweat. And that's going to allow me to peel that really nicely. Okay, so I've got my basil there. So the other day we made some black bean burgers. If you haven't seen the program, take a look at the program, and we did that last Friday, and these burgers came out really nicely. So what we're doing is we're going to re-cook these, and we're going to add them with the shakshuka, and then I'm just going to grate a little bit of parmesan over, and we're going to add that as well. So take a look at what our shakshuka is looking like now. I think that is spot on. So that's pretty much done. You can see the eggs are really nicely done. They're still a little bit wet, which I like. I'm going to take a dash of cheese, stick that over the top. Look how fantastic that looks. A little bit of basil. There you go. And then lastly, what I like doing, which really works nicely, I'm going to take this and move this off here. So you can just take a little bit of avo, and I'm just going to spoon some avo over the top. Just like that. That gives us really nice freshness. So we've got this sort of chili egg combination with this really nice Turkish spice and some fresh avo. There you go. That looks beautiful.
Stunning.
Okay.
I've got Charlene here. Hi Charlene. She says, hi Brett, nice to see you again after 3 years. I was one of your Cooking Wild Franche courses with you. So enjoyable.
Oh, fantastic. Hello Charlene. Nice to see you again. Okay, so guys, that's pretty much our dish for this evening. It's really simple to make. You can literally, it's going to take you 15 to 20 minutes to make it if you've got all the ingredients. Look out for our sushi class. We're doing an online sushi class tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So 12 to 2 o'clock. Just book online on our website. You'll see a list of all the ingredients that you need, and we will send you a whole, let's call it a welcome pack with bits and pieces and information in there. And then on Thursday we're doing dim sum. So same sort of thing, register, book online, and come and join us for a dim sum class. So we've got those 2 online classes running, And then obviously during the week, every day at 5 o'clock, we are running these demo sessions. So come and join us, like us, send it to your mates. Please tell them to like us as well. It's going to make us survive when we get back out of this lockdown. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you soon.